Hey, this is Mike. I'm gonna try something a little different with this video. Um, if you hear any noise in the back, it's the fan. It's hot. It's summer, go figure. Climate change. Just kidding. Uh, I don't believe in that. Um, yeah, I'm gonna do something a little different than the last couple of videos. This one's gonna be like raw, not edited, just like the others, but probably a little more raw because I don't have any major thoughts written out. I just have tiny little notes to look at. 'Cause I just don't want to forget, you know, some of the points I wanted to make. Um, Things are rough. Things are real rough. Life's kicking me in the teeth, to put it mildly. I won't go into what all's going on, but let's just say it's been rough. Yeah. um, Kind of had a couple of bouts where I was like, God, what is going on? And I get real upset. Had a couple of those. But, God's still sovereign. He's still in control. And I still trust him. God's always been there for me. My entire life. Even before I was born, he was there. I'll explain that a little bit. Um, but yeah, he's never left my side. Um, as for being with me even before I was born, well, explain it like my mom had a lot of trouble carrying babies. She had like 7 miscarriages before me. Like she had I have 3 siblings, but I would have had 10. Unless the pregnancies might have overlapped, so it's not 100% sure. But I was the last. And the year before I was born, she had open heart surgery to uh, correct a heart defect. I think it was a hole in her heart. It's been a long time ago. I think that's what it was. I think it was a hole in her heart. They fixed that. Ironically, I would also have open heart surgery 50 years later. um, I went over that in another video, though. You can see that. It's the one when it's titled something along the lines of God spared me from death 3 times. So you can watch that to find out about my heart surgery. Well, like I said, um, the surgery fixed what was wrong, and she was able to carry me, and I ended up being her last child. So God's been looking out for me from the very beginning. I spent an enormous amount of time alone as a kid. So I just didn't get along well with other kids. And when my mom died when I was 10, I spent even more time alone because my dad wasn't around enough like a dad's supposed to be, especially after losing a mother. But I got through it because God was there for me, and God never ever let me down. Let me tell you something. Pretty much everybody in my life has let me down. Like, there's only 1 or 2 people who haven't. I won't go into that, but God has never let me down. He's always been there. Yeah, like I said, I spent an enormous amount of time alone, and he was always there to protect me. I remember, like my dad would drop me off at places when I was a kid, a teenager, and I'd be alone and fending for myself for hours and hours and walking around town and just, could have been bad. but God was always there for me. So, you know, um, let me check here. I don't want to forget anything. Um, God, has always been by my side. Um, I've never, I really never got to realize any of the dreams I had in life. Life's been really rough, really hard on me. Um, but there's always little miracles, you know. There's little miracles happen every day, big ones too. Every day, we just have to find them. God gives us these miracles. Um, the fact that I'm even here is a miracle. The medical problems I went through. Like I said, there's a video about that. Um, but I decided I'm not going to lay down and just give up and die. I'm not giving anybody that satisfaction. They can, you know what they can do. I won't say it out loud. Um, but God's near to the brokenhearted. This Psalm 34:18. Let me read it. That way I don't mess it up. The Lord is nigh unto them that are of a broken heart, and saveth such as be of a contrite spirit. There you go. It's right in the Bible. Getting back to miracles. I'll tell you a couple short stories. Hopefully it wouldn't take too long. Let's travel back in time, kiddies, to late 70s, early 80s. Those stories, somewhere in that time frame. Remember, like, no internet. Your phone was either on a table or attached to the wall. If you wanted to look something up, you had to go to the library, or if you were lucky to have, like, encyclopedia in your house, there you go. It was a totally different time. If you weren't there, it's just hard to explain. First little miracle I remember as a kid. Oh god, I was like 7 or something. Maybe I was really young. Um, we were having a really bad time. We always had bad times, but this was a particularly bad time. Money wise, we were really broke, and my parents were trying to figure out what to do, and they actually started talking about selling a vehicle that we had. Like, my dad usually had more than one. He had like a truck that he would drive or take back and forth to work, and then there was a car for my mom to drive around and do the things she needed to do, because we lived way out in the country, and so it was just necessary to have the two vehicles. Yeah, I mean, my dad would be like gone all day, most of the time. Sometimes he worked nights, but most of the time he's gone during the day. Um, and then I think we had like a third truck at this point later, so it was like a third vehicle. Um, it was like kind of, you know, it wasn't a very good truck, but it ran, it got you where you needed to go. Um, so out of the blue, after my mom and dad were talking about this, some guy, remember, we lived out in the boonies, okay? This is way out in the country. No signs up or anything. And they had only just recently talked about selling the truck. This guy shows up and offers to buy it, the truck they were talking about. Like, our minds are blown, like, nobody could have known about this. So we just chalked it up to God. I mean, it had to be. There's no other explanation. And, turn the title over to the guy, and then that was it. Never heard anything else about it. Yeah, things were a lot different back then. You didn't have to go through a lot of crazy hoops like you do now. Um, Second little miracle. Again, we never had money. Okay, we were really poor most of my entire childhood, and I'm still poor today. It hasn't changed. Okay. We were at church, and my mom was worried about putting money into the collection plate for the church, because usually you put something in, a little. It doesn't have to be much, but you put something in. It's not like anybody sits and watches how much you put in either. And if they do, that's really like tacky. I don't know any other word. I could probably think of a worse word, but let's go with tacky. Um, so she's looking in her purse, and she's got a $20 bill. It's all she has. Like, she doesn't have anything else. Doesn't know how she's gonna replace it, get through the week, till my dad gets paid, whatever. And she just decides on faith to turn it over, put it in the collection plate. Okay. So, don't you know, later on, I think after we got home, she's looking for something else in her purse, and another $20 bill shows up. It wasn't there before. She didn't miss it. I know all the excuses. People say, well, maybe it was in the liner or the person dropped out. No, it was God. I'm sorry, it was God. And I'm not going to believe anything else. Little miracles. And little miracles still happen today. Big miracles still happen. I think the fact that God paved the way for me to be born was a miracle in my life. And that He saved my life 3 times in the last couple of years is also a miracle. And it's why I'm able to be here and talk to you online. Anybody that watches this, I really hope that God will bless you for watching this, and that somehow these little anecdotes from my life will somehow touch yours and, give you some comfort. Know that you can trust God. You can trust Him implicitly. He is always there for you, even when you don't think He is. Recently, like I said at the beginning of the video, I've been having a lot of issues lately. A lot of problems. Life's been really hard, kicking me in the teeth, like really bad. But God is still there. And I feel Him, and I know He's there. He has never, ever left me. He's never, ever let me down, even when all the people in my life did. And trust me, they did. But I'm still here. I'm still kicking. I'm kicking life back in its teeth. I'm not giving up. Nobody's going to make me give up. So just know that you can trust God. Pray to Him unceasingly, like whenever problems come. Because that's how you always get in trouble. It's like, oh, well, I'll pray later, or I'll do it. No, pray as soon as the problem arises. Trust me, I've been there. So I think that's it for this little video. Like, I don't want to make it too long. I'm doing a little bit different. Like, my laptop's been going crazy, so I'm using the phone. We'll see how it goes. Hopefully I can get a better laptop than the one that's going crazy, but I don't know when that's going to happen. Hopefully the fan noise isn't too bad either, because it's hot. But thank you for watching if you made it all the way through. How it goes. Like, subscribe. I never thought I'd be the person saying that, but apparently it helps with the YouTube algorithms or whatever, so put it out there. And I thank you for watching. Hopefully, this can help somebody. That's what I want. Just want to spread the gospel, spread the kingdom of God. If you need to know the gospel, look at my video selection. The first one is about the gospel. You can find it there. Watch it get saved. If you don't know Jesus already, cry out to him today, because things are not looking real good. Things are getting crazy. Like, even the weather, and that's one of the last things we're waiting on to go crazy is the weather. So hopefully the rapture happens soon. If it doesn't happen, then we're just gonna have to deal with that. Be all right. God's with us. Thank you for watching. I'm sending all my love out to anybody who sees this. Thank you, and take care. Jesus loves you. So do I. Thank you. Bye.